what she's giving up, yeah. I know she's gonna leave her broken man behind. I dig what she's giving up, yeah. Ooh, Lord. Whether she's on or down below, you know the woman looks just like love. Without the care, she floats above me. She got me down here looking up. I know she's gonna leave my broken heart behind her. I dig what she's giving up, yeah. I know she's gonna leave her broken man behind, yeah. Oh, say the one, say the one, say the one for me. When she moves so cool. She made me feel just like a fool now. But inside is where the devil hides. The woman looks just like love. I know she's gonna leave her broken man behind her. I take what she's giving up, yeah. I know she's gonna behind her. I dig what she's giving up. I know she's gonna leave her broken man behind. Ooh, see the one, see the one, see the one for me. Love,
That like button for busted stuff.
I know she's gonna leave her broken man behind. Yeah, oh, see the one, see the one, see the one for me.
Shout out to Black and Bluebird.
See the one for me. See the one, see the one, see the one for me. See the one, see the one.
Good time. What up? Welcome home. Good time. Just got released today out of jail.
You don't got to go.
Trouble had a short bid. Seen his last Mexico debut. Shout out to Trouble coming back. R.I.P. Leroy Moore. Gone but never forgotten. Shout out to Michael T. Entered me in a SPAC ticket lottery. Shout out to John Woodbury. All right, all right. Let's cue that intro. And after this intro, we're gonna go straight into our first guest after the intro pops up here. It's your boy Conserviz 34. We got a good show for y'all tonight. Hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. It's your boy Conserviz 34 back at home. What up? What up? It's your boy Conserviz 34. Yep, so your boy Conserviz 34 coming to you here. What up? What up? It's your boy Conserviz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. All right, we're going to get this thing started here. It's your boy Conserviz 34, and welcome to the post-show stream here. So we're going to get this started, and I'm going to bring on our first guest right away. He was just at Mexico. Well, he's in Mexico right now, not just at, he just left now. He went home. He went back to Colorado now. He is in Mexico right now, him and his lovely wife, Angie. He always is sharing the joy of his trips with us on Twitter. None other than Shane Whitford. Let's bring up Shane. Shane, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm living the dream, dreaming to live, and we're living vicariously through you. Tell us about this
Uh,
first night of Mexico.
where where do I begin? 3 hours straight. Just oh my god, it was so good. And yeah, I'm all in. I drank the E3. Everything was perfect tonight. I got no complaints. Uh, those first 5 songs came out like night one. The first five songs, good. Boa, the Stone, and then our first ever acoustic Madden. It was amazing. It was. I just really hope people were watching on the couch stream. I put the phone away a lot of times because I'm during the show. I figure a lot of people do need to take clips or whatever.
Mhm.
It was incredible, and then they went to light, and we're like, oh, it's got to come out. So okay, night one, don't drink, and everybody was like, okay, we just had satellite, and don't drink, dude. Stuff came on. Those that knew were just freaking out, like freak. And then there's a lot of spouses, and they don't understand really. They're like, "Well, what's this?" But oh my God, Marcus, that was a highlight. Played 4 more satellites, going to a couple more. Don't I don't. It was, oh my God, it was the crowd reaction. Unbelievable. So damn lucky, which was fantastic. Tim is just a master. He makes noises with that guitar. Man, the crowd eats it. I mean, we just love it. He's so talented. Especially like this, it's just the two of them go run around a little bit and have fun with the guitar guy. You are, that plastic thing he puts on his finger, a slide or plastic, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the guitar slide.
Dave just sits there and laughs. Like, this is incredible. Dave's enjoying it. So yeah, I mean, so damn lucky was great. And then Monsters comes out, and Dave talked tonight, and there usually is down here. He's got to fill time. You can run through these songs session and really blow through the set if you want to, but he really draws it out. A lot of good stories. But he told us how Monsters. He's like, I haven't played this yet. Neither has Tim. Don't mess it up. Everybody loved that. So that was incredible.
Hey Shane, do you have phone service now? Like, is your cell service work if I call you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna call you because it is a little bit choppy.
Okay, perfect.
Which,
Want to be.
but give me one moment. I'm gonna disconnect you and then I'm gonna call you.
All right, thank you, Marcus.
Yeah. All right, so that was Shane, and again, you could see that he's pumped up, but it was choppy. We do want to call him here and see if this will work better. Let's see. And we thank him for coming on because it's hard to get people. This Mexico is an extremely intense journey all day, every day. There, the sun, you're getting served free drinks all day, and a lot of people right now are exhausted. So we thank Shane for coming on the stream. Hello, Shane.
Speaker, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you a lot better. So you
I'm
walk.
sorry about that, Mark. Sorry, listeners.
Okay. So you kind of left off at Monsters, but let's go back to. I want you to take us back to the beginning of this set. Um, that good time trouble, best of what's around the stone. What was it like to get those four songs in a row to start off a show?
It was perfect, Marcus. It was perfect. Crowd was there for exactly what came in those first four songs. And everybody was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. Especially when Timmy goes into the stone. I mean, that acoustic stone it's unbelievable, you know? Oh my gosh. He sounds the bass, he sounds the highs. It's really, the stone is incredible what they did. So the first four songs were amazing. And Madman's Eyes, that's the first acoustic Madman's Eye, right? That I've gotten. Angie's gotten, so that's awesome.
What did you think of Tim Reynolds' parts on this acoustic version? How did he kind of enhance this song in this setting?
Sure. He pretty much, he's a master. He's a master at the guitar. He plays Jeff's part in the beginning. He plays everything. It's just incredible. They had a good time playing it too. You could see them having fun. So those first five songs were just unbelievable. You know, what a way to start the show. Everybody was hyped. It was rolling. And then Satellite and Don't Drink came out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you could start to hear a bit of a, like, really, you know, if you're going to play it on the first night.
Now were you expecting? So you get Trouble, Best of What's Around, Stone, and the 2, 3, 4. Were you expecting something like Busted Stuff? Did you like? I know you said it was. You know, you had people who were excited, but did you think you were going to get that song tonight walking in?
No, I mean, that's a wish. Now I don't know the real stats. The HUD came up. When the HUD came up, the stat said it hadn't been played since 2003. I had you double check that stat.
So
if that's the case, that's a 20.
So that's Dave and Tim. So yeah, Dave and Tim. It's only been played a couple of times. Dave and Tim. Last time it was played was April 4th, 2003. Now full band, it was played last on September 3rd, 2010. Busted Stuff started back in Hartford at the beginning of that 2010 summer tour, and the biggest difference is what you got tonight. And Rab recorded the whole thing, so we heard it. What you got tonight, you actually hear Dave's guitar. Those 2010 song performances, Tim was playing electric guitar parts. And listen, it's better than nothing. But what you got tonight was truly the first real Busted Stuff in a while. And let's actually go. I'm gonna go over to that to see. We're gonna look at this.
Marcus, the crowd reaction when they realized what was going on. It was magic. It was just.
That's awesome. Magic. I mean, listen, it's been what I'm gonna say is, and this is me. You got the first real Busted Stuff since 2003 where Dave plays. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plays in 2010, but to me, that's not Busted Stuff like we heard at the intro. That's Tim CDC playing that. Dave, I think, just didn't feel like playing the chord, so he let Tim play it. Still counts as a performance, but you got the first real Busted Stuff in over 20 in really a 20-year period.
Incredible. I mean, once everyone realized it was just incredible, man. I don't know how to explain it. I never had it. Just tonight, you know. I mean, Busted Stuff and Monsters.
Now, with Monsters, I want to stop you there. What was the chatter of, like, after the song in the set and then after this show? What was the chatter in Mexico as far as what people were saying about Monsters?
All right, I'm gonna take you back a little bit. So lot of Dave talk tonight. A lot of great stories. He talked really extensive. I hope somebody heard it on the couch tour, and I hope and Zach is here. He's recording everything, so when he cleans it up, I hope that they keep the stories in when they put them out on the hub and stuff. One about the Vatican and everything, but 3 separate times tonight, Dave specifically either said, "Hey, just shut the fuck up while I'm talking," or, "Yeah, hey, if you want to talk, just leave. Otherwise, shut the fuck up." Like, he three separate times he's trying to tell the crowd, like, there's gonna be some really good instrumental, and you should hear this. So shut up and listen. And one time, somebody yelled, and he's like, "Look, this isn't for my benefit. This is for you. So shut the hell up." You know, he just was like, it's typical though. It's Friday night, man. Everybody's pumped. Like you said, the sun was hot today. The drinks are poured as stiff as they can to keep you upright. It's just, oh my God. So yeah, by the time everyone gets into the show, that pool today was packed for Mount Joy. So people are partying in the pool over there. They're coming back, right back to their pool, drinking. Then they let in early if you get the early pack. So, I mean, it's almost nonstop unless you really tell yourself, I need to get out of the sun. I need to hydrate. I need to take a little rest. Because, again, night one, you see it kicking a lot of people back. And people will calm down as the weekend goes on. So there was not a lot of talk about monsters. You're like, what's the chatter about monsters? And what's that? No, Dave's like, shut the fuck up. I'm going to play this. And Tim and I have never played it, so I hope you enjoy it. And it's called Monsters. And everybody afterwards was like, yeah, okay, that was pretty badass, you know? Can't wait to hear if that goes full band and what that's going to sound like. So, but yeah, he really did a good job tonight trying to moderate those that are really wasted and try to shut up so everybody else can hear the show. You know, that was really appreciated.
Yeah, and that's really what we get on the couch tours. We really hear people who are inebriated. Now how like what's going on as far as, just walk us through. So these drinks, are there's people all around you all day just serving you these things? I know there's all inclusive, but like how easy is it to get a drink?
Yeah, Mark. First of all, everyone comes with insulated Monster cups. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That usually hold 16 to 150 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hand them over to the servers, and they don't even have pour spouts on the bottle. You know, they just tip it up and boom, 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 boom. They're as fast as they can pour it into your cup. And it's all inclusive. It's all you want to drink. And if the bars at the pools open up at 10, but if you can't wait that long, you go inside the lobby where there's a bar and you can drink 24/7 if you want. You know what I mean? So they stack your mini fridge with water and alcohol. You know, that's just yours to drink if you want it in your rain. So yes, the idea that they skimp on anything. Again, you walk into the venue, both sides are lined with people holding drinks. You get in further, the food court has got unbelievable cuisine being prepared. And I'm not just talking like one booth. There's like 15 booths of food. Everything you could think of. Lines are not long because there's so many booths. And they really do their best to say, wow, with this much alcohol, we need to get food in people's bellies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's everything you think it is, Marcus. Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so we want you to walk us through, there were 2 songs that I've been petitioning to come back to the full band that are played, Black and Bluebird and Death on the High Seas. Mm-hmm. What did you think of these? Yeah, what did you think of these? What I call these were these 2015 songs. They came out in 2015, 2016. What did you think of those songs in the Dave and Tim format?
Yeah, Angie and I like Black and Bluebird. It's been a favorite since it came out. That was awesome. Death on the High Seas is just good, you know. Him on the piano, everybody's quiet listening. It's beautiful. It was beautiful.
And we're gonna talk more with Zach about Solis. Just everyone watching, we'll get to that. I do want to you've been giving us behind the scenes poster and Mount Joy stuff. So I want to talk about that stuff with you. I'm gonna pull up here. First, we'll talk the posters, then we'll talk Mount Joy and kind of what the special show that you got there. So this is the merch line. A lot of people are, really talking about this. You got comments on this about the line of people in Mexico. First, like, why are people lining up? Like, was it like that early for the posters? Was there a limited run? Did things sell out?
So I got the triptych picture last night from our buddy Craig in Wales. So I saw it, like, wow, I was going to get the triptych anyway. And today's daily. And so I was determined to get it. But anyway, your question, there was 300 foil dailies, 150 foil triptychs. Triptychs sold out so quick. Yeah. And then the dailies, I'm sure they didn't last long either. They're beautiful. Those are really, I like the daily. However, late in the day, I saw people coming out of merch with the triptych small tubes. They're smaller, so the tubes are maybe 12, 14, I don't know. And I was like, "Is there still posters in there?" And he's like, "Yeah, no foils, but there's." So they must have bought a boatload of just non-foil, just like last year.
Okay.
Didn't sell out.
So people are lining up for those foils. Then that's really why people are lining up to get the foils for the daily and triptych. Is that why people were?
I just think day one excitement, gonna get a poster. Like, I was talking to a lady in line that said, "I want today's poster, but I have no interest in coming the next 2 days." Like, she didn't want the triptych. She wanted a hoodie and a t-shirt. I mean, there was just, not everybody in line was there for posters, but the amount of people in line. I got in line early, and you could see, like, just from the camera stand, there was so many people ahead of me. And I was like, "Oh, I'm never." Like 25 left or so after I got it. So I was fortunate.
And what time did you line up? Do you know?
I left my hotel room at like 10 to 8. It took me about 10 minutes to walk over to the merch tent. So I would say 8 o'clock, I probably stood in line.
10 of 8, you're walking to this line. You're walking to get in line, and that's the line at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the line ahead of me.
Okay.
When I got there at 8, merch tent opens at 10 a.m. So that you're talking about people earlier when you're like, "Oh, everybody's been in the sun all day and the drink." Like, Marcus, the drinks start at like 8 a.m.
Okay.
In line. People are bringing, you got full bottles of wine in your hotel room. People are just showing up in line, corking a bottle, and they're like, "Oh, break this for breakfast. Let's go, everybody." Then you're just standing there for 2 hours baking. There's no shade.
Yeah.
But now it's 10 a.m. and you've already felt like, wow, I put in a pretty good bit of the day roasting in the sun. Let's go have some cocktails around the pool, and maybe let's have some lunch and keep having some more cocktails. And so the day started pretty early, and I'm so excited. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I got all 4 posters that I wanted, foil, and that show tonight, Marcus. My God, 3 hours straight. It was unbelievable.
And so Mount Joy, what was it like to see this band in, like, literally poolside?
Yeah, that's the greatest experience, man. Have you ever seen a band play at the pool? Like, until I went to Mexico, I've never seen it.
I've never seen this setup.
Yeah. Like Mount Joy right there in the pool. Again, you're just like, "Oh my God, this is freaking amazing. I mean, it's so good. And I saw Zak over there at Mount Joy. I'll tell you what, community, you all need to really give that man some serious props and thanks. He took me over, showed me his rig, how he gets the audio, how he's shooting the video. Even told you a little story. I don't want to go into it, but please bring it up to him, Marcus. Make a note about Felice and his taping of her show last night. He's got a great story about it. He told me today at school. And then I was filming it on Twitter Live. I haven't used it before. I don't even know how the video works on it. I tried to watch it back. It looked grainy. But as soon as the end, I booked over. I met Matt, the lead singer of the band. I was like,
we got that picture.
Picture with you. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. So yeah, that's it right there.
That's awesome.
What a day, start to finish, Marcus. I don't even know where. I mean, and it's only Friday. Like the day. Oh my God.
Yeah, and
everyone's talking, Marcus. I just got to get this on my chest. I don't know who's on the stream right now. Hines, you're out there trolling. I don't know what he's saying.
He's not. No, we don't have. I don't see Hines in this. And
you're gonna hear people say, "Oh," and I saw your Twitter, dude. It was so funny. You got to pay $5 to get busted stuff in Mexico. But dude, this is the shit they're putting out on these destination style shows. And everyone's like, well, I wouldn't go there because it's not full band, and I would only go to the Gorge. And that's great. I can't even relate. I haven't been to the Gorge in all my shows. It's the hardest single venue for Angie and I to get to. But my God, take a look at tonight's set list and tell me if you're going to get that at the Gorge any night.
You're not.
God.
You're not. I'm sorry. You're not getting
and
this.
People are going to say, oh, I need the band. I need Carter thumping, and I want Farms and Babes to be rocking. It's like, yes, but it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
I love that band. Angie and I travel coast to coast year after year to see those guys. This is different. This is nothing like Dave and Tim and Canandaigua, New York. No.
Right.
They might give you one, but they're not going to give you that first 5 out. Dude, come on. Good Times Trouble, Boa Stone, Case Closed, man. That's ridiculous.
And before
ahead and that's the Busted Stuff, Monsters.
Yeah.
Death on the High Seas, all this bonus material. This is just a different level. And I'm insanely fortunate to be able to do this. And I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to share to everybody what's out there and what's going on. And just to, people are like, oh, I want to live vicariously through you. But it's just cool to share with people what's going on in this community, on a destination, internationally, and what's going on. And so many people say, that's it. Next year, we're saving, starting on Monday, we are going to Mexico next year. And yes, and if anybody wants to ask me, should I do it? The answer is yes. This is ridiculous down here. We got 2 more shows. What are they going to do? They're going to you and me and what else? I mean, they got so much more music to play. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, and hey, Shane, what's crazy is the videos I made about some songs about how to make them better. They played every single song from that series. I have it up here. The Satellite video I made, they played Satellite. Make Number 41 Great Again, they played Number 41. And then I just a day ago put Trouble out there about why it's so great, and they played it. So it's definitely, this is something.
That's amazing. I really hope you had input on that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You don't find that suspicious?
I think it's.
You don't find that suspicious?
I think it's. There's nothing like seeing this set list from home. Say you even SPAC and the Gorge in this current era, you don't get busted stuff. You don't get good time. You don't get trouble. Now, what we want to
wear shoes into the venue. You know what I mean? It's sand. The vibe is hitting you from the moment you walk out to your hotel room. It's incredible. I just want to show one more thing. Felice came out for Hey Hey My Neil Young cover. That was so good. First time I ever heard Dave sing it. And then she came out with All Along the Watchtower.
Yep.
And my only opinion, because I really enjoyed her last night, yeah, she didn't nail it like I heard she nailed the Gorge, in my opinion. I mean, she did good. The second half of the song picked up. I felt like she missed a lot of Dave's cue. Dave looking at her like, go, like, rip this. And it seemed to just kind of like ticky-tack on for a while. And then she got the cue, and she ripped it maybe in the last couple minutes of the song, it seemed like. But, I mean, I felt like she really had a lost opportunity there. Maybe she was just really intimidated. That many people. I couldn't.
Well,
I'm
I'll stop you right there. I heard Preservation Hall Jazz Band with DMB and at Deer Creek, and it didn't feel like what I saw from the band. They released that kind of like video of them playing. The band released that music, like a video of them playing that at Seaville some years before. So I think it's when you're in the moment of the first inception. Solis had nothing to lose. It's full band. It's her moment. Like she's like in front of it's a full concert production, and she goes in and she makes that half court shot, right? So the first time was so organic. She even mentioned, I know you had video last night about how everyone comes up to her and says, "Oh, Watchtower Gorge, I was there. Oh, I love it." So I think it's hard in this day, even the Hey Hey My Into the Black. I heard that today on one of the streams on Instagram. It's hard to capture that first moment when you know the first moment happened. Then you got to hit that half court shot again. You could still make a 3-pointer. You could still be great. But that was such an organic moment.
Observation was when she was playing with the band, everybody's standing. She could walk over to Tim and kind of face up to him, maybe. I wasn't there at the Gorge. Different vibe again. We're in Mexico. Dave and Tim are sitting on stools.
Right.
She comes out with a guitar rolled out with the amplifiers, completely different vibe than when she had to walk on stage too in the Gorge.
Yeah. And before we let you go, people want to know, between 1 and 10, what would you rate this show?
10 all the way.
10.
Like I said, I got
10 out of 10.
Complain about. I'm not even complaining. Satellite, don't drink. I did at first on Twitter because I was like, no, Satellite, not so soon. Dude, I don't care. Satellite, don't drink. That was tonight was fantastic. I'm really excited to hear what Zak has to say because I know sometimes Zak's maybe more critical about some things, and I really relate to what he says. So I want to hear what he has to say as well.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, Shane. We'll be back at it with you tomorrow, and thank you for breaking down kind of what's going on there, from the posters to the fact. Listen, they're throwing alcohol at you from 8 a.m. to the showtime. It gives us much more perspective here at home. And listen, I'll say this, and we'll talk about this whenever we get the guests off. Right now I can't afford this trip. I hope to one day, but I don't knock anybody who goes to this show. I don't knock anyone who has the availability in the funds to go to this. And I'm glad that you're having fun. I'm not going to hold this against you that you're getting this show. I'm glad.
No one thinks you are either.
I'm glad you guys got busted stuff.
It's definitely chatter. It's acknowledged that this is an expensive trip. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
There's no shade. No one's trying to hide anything. We all see what the prices are when they announce the packages.
Right. But Fish does it. Other smaller bands do this. Humphreys McGee, Government Mule. It is what it is. If anything, if anyone's mad, be mad at Dave, because he can 100%. Easily bust out busted stuff if he wanted. It's not on the people who decide to invest in the trip. And
you're sold money, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me let you go.
He has to keep it special, otherwise it's not special. You can't come down here and buy you and me, don't drink, and everyone's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, that 10 times the summer tour,
But Shane, let me let you go. I want to get Zak on. It is getting late, but thank you so much for being on and taking this time. You and Angie enjoy the rest of your night.
wonderful. Thank you, Marcus. Thanks for having me.
All right, peace. All right, so that was Shane from Colorado, as his name is on YouTube. I want to thank him for coming on. I do want to keep everything moving, keep the train moving. We're going to check to see Zak's connection. He is waiting right now. So let me just set this up. And then say, okay. All right, so we're going to bring Zak on here. Zak, how's it going?
Hey, howdy. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Outstanding. Good to see you, Marcus.
Likewise. And tell us about this show. What did you think?
This show was definitely one of the more solid, very few dead spot D&T shows I've ever seen. And to come out the gate with it as a night one for down here is beyond crazy. I mean, even like just in terms of just how long the show was, he played as long tonight as they did on night 3 of last year. So Dave was really feeling himself and having a lot of fun. He had a lot of good banter with the crowd. The song selection was impeccable, and I mean, it's setting a fairly high bar for the rest of the weekend.
Right. And you had messaged me. You said, "Hey, I know you said I posted 10:30 to 11 or 10:30 to 11. You said, "Hey, it's probably going to be closer to 11:30, but just as you said, it's 11:15 and the encore is just about to start." So he definitely he definitely gave you guys a lot of songs. I thought that before Solis came on, they were going to end the main set, and they kept going. And so definitely a lot of music. And we have a picture up here. It looks like you met our first guest, Shane, yesterday in Mexico. Is that correct?
Actually, yeah, I got to see Shane today at the Mountjoy pool set, which was a lot of fun. I think that's one of their little 45-minute sets that are right on this circular stage, right in the middle of the pool. It's a very relaxed, laid-back atmosphere, and it gives the bands a little bit of a way to play off of the different kinds of stages, because they usually get a little bit more intimate, a little bit more fun with the pool stage shows, and then when they go to the main stage, they really kind of just blow everything out.
Yeah, and we got some footage. There was some live footage that Shane took. So with this set, we were just talking about the end of the set with Solis, because I think that's one thing I wanted to look at. Shane said, "Hey, that Watchtower moment just wasn't there." I said, just from at home, Instagram live video, I thought that the uncover Solis, it was kind of like awkward for her having that electric guitar, but not having the full band environment. What did you think of these last 2 main set songs with Solis?
So I was lucky enough to catch Solis on the beach stage when she opened up yesterday, and I will say that her playing with her trio was incredible. It was really well set. She was in her groove, and it was one of the better openers, quote unquote, that I've seen at a show. That being said, I have to agree with Shane in the sense that I don't think that this Solis spot really hit nearly as well as I thought it was going to. Also, like the Watchtower was all over the place. Dave forgot which set of the verses that he was in, and unfortunately, like Solis kind of looked to some degree like she was very confused on what really she was doing there, besides saying, "Oh, hey, remember me? I played on Watchtower," kind of thing. And I mean, like, were they bad? By no means, absolutely not. I think that they were still 2 solid sit-ins, but it did not have that explosive energy that the Gorge did. And I think that's partially due to the fact that it's hard to guest with Dave and Tim because there's nowhere for you to hide.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not to say that like she's a bad musician at all. She's a great musician. She's a fantastic guitarist, and she's got great vocals. But the problem is just when it comes to Dave and Tim, there's significantly less wiggle room for people guessing. That's why I think Dave and Tim guests kind of fall flat 90% of the time.
Right. It's a different skill set to guess with them in that environment. And even her, like you said, her trio set. I saw some videos last night. It's a different vibe when you have a drum and bass. Or was it a drum bass trio, guitar trio?
Yeah, so it was her drummer, Alan, sorry, I believe his name is Aaron Steele or something like that, and then her bassist. Her bassist was really, really good. And I mean, overall, like as a trio, they work really well, really, really well together. They know each other. They've got their little idiosyncrasies set up. They complement each other well. They do good as a unit.
Awesome. And we want to go back here in the set. What'd you think of this busted stuff at the 8 spot?
Um, so I think that Busted Stuff is going to be 2023's Dreaming Tree. And by that, I mean Dreaming Tree got, brought back from the dead last year in 2022 here in Mexico. And it then came out for a short stint in the summer, playing a couple of spots, nothing really too crazy, but it was there for, I think they played it like 5 or 6 times last year, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see what the rest of the weekend holds, but there's no way that Dave just learned Busted Stuff again purely to go and throw it as a full one-off here in Mexico. I really do believe that he is planning on putting that out a little bit more during the year this year. I think it'll be like one of those things that you see in the first leg of the tour, like through the South and all that kind of stuff. And maybe it pops up for like one of the 2 big weekends.
Yeah, and that's a great example as far as Dreaming Tree made it out of it's like the NCAA tournament. Dreaming Tree made it out of the first weekend in Dave and Tim Mexico, which a lot of songs don't, like Trouble and Up and Away and Black and Bluebird. I doubt that's good. I mean, I hope it comes back, but I don't see that hitting in a full band setting. At least I'm playing it. So that's a great comparison.
Actually, to kind of sidestep back to Trouble, something that happened last year and that I have a feeling is going to happen again this year is Dave is going to come suspiciously close to playing the entirety of Some Devil, but pooch it at the end and not do 1 or 2 songs. Like last year, out of the 13 songs that are on Busted Stuff, not Busted Stuff, Some Devil rather, he did 11 of them and only, missed out on 2. I have a feeling he's going to end up playing almost the entirety again, but miss out by 1 or 2 songs.
I thought when I was at the Gorge in 21 and they started playing Some Devil songs to fill space, I was at Tony Hall was there. That was the arc of me thinking that they were going to bring back stuff like Trouble for that weekend to say, hey, let's just do some of this, Tony, let's do what we did with Dave and Friends and bring out most of Some Devil. And ultimately they didn't really, they went to covers that they did for Dave and Friends, but they didn't do Trouble. They didn't do Dodo. They didn't do some of those other, like even Little Thing or And Another Thing, whatever you want to call it. So I've kind of, I mean, it could happen as was the new track, it could happen.
Absolutely. But right now, even going to the new track, I liked Monsters. I think that it's really cool. It's a cute little song. It's got some cute lyrics to it. It's primarily like the lyrical theme of it is going from the eyes of a child, talking about how they're scared of different things, and then kind of encapsulating that into the idea of, like, as adults, even now, we aren't really so different as we were with kids, where we're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of what's under the bed. We're afraid what's in our closet. We're afraid about what's around that corner. So lyrically, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I'm excited to listen back to it and see, what the actual full lyrics are. I'd like to be able to write it down. But it was one of the better pieces of lyrical songwriting Dave's done. But then again, nothing will ever eclipse Plastic Girl. But
So
I
the
definitely think that for the rest of the weekend, we're going to see one new song a night show up. I think that
mm,
Monster was tonight. I think we're going to get two more songs before the end of the weekend to average out to three for the three Brits. So I actually haven't even looked at the full list of songs yet, but we've already had out of the 12 of them, there has been one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. There have been eight of them debuted already. So I think that it would be pretty solid to get two more done.
it's an interesting dilemma because if Come Tomorrow was all released ahead of time, like if those songs all had debuted, I wouldn't have been as excited for that album.
That's fair.
Same.
I can understand that.
So now with this album, the songs they're all so short that I mean, I guess maybe people are still already pre-ordered it, but I feel like if these songs do not land well, it could work against the promotion of the album. Not for most fans are not gonna it's not gonna gauge it, but just that hardcore fan base, many just the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. I think if these songs don't hit right away, it's gonna discourage them even from going to extra shows. They're saying if this is all the songs we're getting, and I've heard
Maybe, but I think that you're psychoanalyzing Dave fans to a degree a little too much. I think Dave fans are still going to show up to shows no matter what album year or not. But ultimately, my thought is if they do, one song a night that's brand new, that's going to, especially for this weekend, that's going to generate a lot of buzz, and it's just going to get people talking about the album.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, you're right. It's really because, and this is why, like, it's really just the forms, and the forms is really, like I said, the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. But we'll see. I really think with this tracks being shorter, there's less pressure on the band to deliver because you're not going to have a Lion Our Graves Last Stop unless they extend a 4-minute song in like
Exactly.
into a 10-minute song, and I think that's a good thing. I like how these songs are shorter
Oh,
here.
and for your own interesting little tidbit, and this was probably one of the most surprising things of the night. Madman's eyes almost fell apart.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, during the chorus breakdown, I don't know if it's because of the modulation between time signatures and how the syncopated vocals work, but Dave just could not figure it out for both times through the chorus, and the whole thing almost collapsed twice, which is so
Wow.
surprising because they play it so much.
Right. They do. This has been since 2020, was it 2021? Yeah, end of 2021, Columbus, and then Mohegan and MSG. They got that, and then last year it was played. But I think it's another point where perhaps having all of the different cues full band, maybe that helps him a lot more. Just having Dave and Tim uh, by
I think that
themselves
I think you're
is
right on that one. I think that it definitely, because Madman's itself is a very heavy band reliant song. And I mean, seeing it stripped down was really cool, but it makes the song significantly harder to play.
yeah. No, it's definitely a tough one if it's just Dave or Dave and Tim here. Let's see, I'm trying to see what people are saying here.
And
The
I mean,
encore.
for some of those that are talking about the encore saying, "Hey, that's pretty standard, Dave and Tim," you're not necessarily wrong. I think that, I think someone even said there before, like, "Oh, the Solis show closer kind of blew the load for that night." Uh, you're not wrong in that sense. I think that the high point of that was supposed to be the Watchtower, and then kind of fizzling away into Gravedigger and Cornbread can be a little a little bit of a letdown. But overall, I still think this is a pretty solid set. I would rank it with a B plus to a strong B plus to a soft A minus.
Okay.
with a ton of room for night 2 and night 3.
Yeah, and I don't. I always say this: if the band gives me a solid main set, I really don't care about the encore. And actually, my first show in 2012, I believe it Cornbread ended the night one of Hartford, and
In
that's
2012,
just
I think that's right.
that's just how I feel. I'm looking it up now because if you give me busted stuff, good actually give me the first four songs, good time, trouble, best of what's around the stone. That alone,
That is as good a start for a Dave and Tim show as you're gonna get, to be
right?
quite honest. You there's very little you can do to top that. Although I
And
will admit it's a little corny to do good time as the weekend opener 2 years in a row, but that's just being nitpicky.
yeah, so, I didn't even good pull there yeah, Time Bomb Cornbread, my first ever encore was Time
That
Bomb
just hurts.
Cornbread.
That's rough.
But you know what's interesting too, that show, let me just bring this up because I kind of think there's a parallel to this. This show, my first ever show, they started with the Stone, right? So they have a 13-minute and 12-second Stone, which is pretty, they were kind of extending stuff out. You have a 15-minute Jimmy thing in the mix. You had a 14-minute Crush, a 16-minute Lying in the Hands of God. So there was a lot of songs that like it felt like a long night. Obviously, it was my first show, but they had it like a lot. Blackjack went 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So like by the time they got to the end of the night, all these great like to have the Stone, Crush, Jimmy thing, have that Blackjack and Granny. By the end of the night, it felt like the band's like, okay, we gave you this crazy opening, and they kind of were before this show, a lot of fans were upset. I was talking to some fans that were more veteran than me. They were upset with the way this tour was going. And this was the first show. This first weekend of Hartford was like, all right, when you get to Alpine, when you get to other spots, it's going to be good. So, long story short, this set had an ending that was it was a night one of two. And they kind of did Time Bomb Cornbread, but the next night is one of the highest viewed Copper Pot videos. So I kind of think that tonight, 2 hours and 24 minutes, that's a pretty long for a night one. That's pretty long. Tonight's show, they go pretty long, and by the end of that, they have to close out on some light stuff. They're not going to give you hot bigger punches night one. But like I said, I'll say this every time: if you get busted stuff and the Stone and Boa and Trouble, like all those at the be like that top heavy set, I could care. They could have closed with "Shake Me Like a Monkey" if I was at this show. I'd be happy. I just be like, listen, but I got busted stuff. So
Yeah, I think you're right on that. But no, I think that that's pretty much where I would land with this show. There's some definite big gems, and there's stuff in there that while I may not be thrilled about it, I think the gems more than pay for what we got.
Anthony,
But
I was gonna say there's a lot of talk. I agree with what you said about the album. There's talk about is the label. What is this? The album's 3 months away. Any chance the label is having Dave play a song or two to some degree? I'll let you answer after second, but to me, I really don't think like the fan base is gonna buy this in this current music era. There's casual fans that are going to listen on Spotify, but you have your core people who already pre-ordered it, and then you have the casual fan base that's going to hop in the next 6 months. To me, the promotion of this stuff doesn't really matter. People are such in their echo chambers of music that you're not going to really win over fans unless maybe a Tiny Desk concert. Outside of that, I can't think of anything else that's going to drastically have people turn to buy this album. What do you think about that?
I think you're right. I think that we'll see like a handful of stuff for like promo tour. You'll see like probably a Good Morning America performance or like an NBC performance, maybe an SNL performance or something like that.
Mhm.
But even like maybe the occasional radio spot that they do or something like that, like Dave Solo showing up at like, Sirius XM or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that, RLM is smart enough to realize like, okay, look, we've already got our core fan base. We know for a fact they're going to buy the album. Do we want to necessarily convert a bunch of people over? Yeah, that'd be nice. But if they don't, we already know we're going to make our money back on it.
Right. And even to me, I don't know, it felt like 15 years. I know that's still a lot of time, but even like Beyonce dropped an album, what, last year? It doesn't reverberate in 2023 like albums that drop. Like Linkin Park has their 20th anniversary of Meteora. Like when Linkin Park was dropping albums back in Blink 182, like when there were bands that were dropping music, TRL, other music channels gave a platform where everyone was checking these sources on TV and like to say, okay, what's going on? Backstreet Boys, and like it DMB, there's not that effect even for the best of the best. Adele, Taylor Swift, they still sell a lot of albums, but there's no central hub where everyone says, "Oh, I have to listen to this top 10 countdown. I have to go to Yo MTV Raps." Talk about hip hop era of what's popping in hip hop. Like because of that, you really the band's got to rely on the physical set, which that's the other thing too. Physical sales, one unit, a physical copy counts for one album, but you got to stream thousands of a song to count for a unit, or you have to have someone download the album and stream it, or download the album and purchase it. Like it's the system is in favor of DMB because more fans are going to buy this than even a Kendrick Lamar or other artists who are popular like The Weeknd. More fans are going to
Definitely. I think
buy
you're
this
100% on the
physically.
point with that one.
So yeah, that's what the chatter is there. What did you feel about the environment of the show? Like just being there, taking in the music, the fans around you. What did you kind of feel about tonight in that
Well,
sense?
unfortunately, night one here has a reputation, and that reputation is people are far too sunburnt and far too drunk for their own good for the first night, and that usually leads to a lot of rowdiness and loud chatting from people during the shows, which I think goes into the fact of like, I don't know if Dave had those like points that he wanted to talk about like in the can ready to go for tonight,
Mhm.
but he was very he's been very vocal, even not just tonight, but over the past year or so, about asking people to please kindly shut the fuck up during his shows.
Right. Yes, he has. All right. Yeah, but we got a lot of that. Shane, we talked to Shane about a lot of that stuff. Any other thoughts? Any other things as far as this night, this weekend, the state of the band, the state of Dave and Tim?
I think that tonight is a good, promising start. Anyone that is sitting there absolutely ragging on this set list doesn't know what they're talking about. This is as good a night one Dave and Tim as you can expect. And it kind of goes to the central thesis of why I think that the Mexico gigs aren't going away anytime soon.
Mhm.
Dave loves coming down here and playing. The the venue and management make an absolute ridiculous amount of money down here on this, and he seems to put his heart and soul into making incredible set lists because he knows that people pay the premium for it.
Yeah, it's almost like a safe space to bust out these deep cuts. And I'll talk about this when you get off and probably throughout this year, but I want to hear Black and Bluebird. But the crowd, I don't think the crowd cares as much. I want to hear Trouble. Will it hit in the middle of the summer, even at a Hartford or Mansfield, a one night
No,
stand? You
it
know,
won't.
like I love these songs. I think they're powerful, and I'd rather them replace another dud song. But some of these songs I think that are dud, people having a ball in the summertime with their boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, children, that song is going to be primary on the set list compared to a Black and Bluebird because it's just not going to be able to play over the crowd. So yeah, it's
Absolutely, and I think you're 100% right on that. The crowd here in general is a lot of old time fans,
yeah,
is a lot of old heads that you know what they like, are not into really Dave for necessarily the party to some degree, but for the music, and they know that coming down here, he's gonna put a lot more thought into what he wants to put rather than like appeasing just the general crowd that's showing up to Wednesday at Jones Beach.
right. And you know what I think is interesting too, and I don't, you're there, I'm not. You didn't, what was your first show?
Jones Beach Night 2 2012, the Beastie Boys cover show.
Gotcha. Okay. There seems to be, at least on social, and I know social media can skew your opinion, there seems to be a lot of fans from the 2010s. Like their first shows were just as Leroy was before he passed. And I think that's, to me, I think it's because the people who were there from the beginning, it's a totally different band. They have they're raising families, there's college. They moved on a decade ago. But there seems to be people and in their late 20s, early 30s, but especially for this trip in their 30s and 40s that may have just gotten hardcore into Dave in the Big Whiskey era forward.
I would even say that like that's probably the youngest edge of this. You've got a
Oh,
lot
really?
of significantly older fans that have been into the band since the 90s and the early 2000s that show up
Hmm.
here that are, they're heading into like the twilight era of their careers. They've been
Hmm.
following this band for so long. And like one could argue to a degree that while Dave Matthews Band as a whole has evolved into a completely different beast in the year 2023 than it was at Central Park 2003, um, Dave and Tim to some degree is kind of timeless. You
It
you
is.
spin a 2010 era Dave and Tim show, and you spin a 1990s era Dave and Tim show. Sure, the variety is going to be a little different, but you're kind of getting the same thing through and through.
And a lot of that is because they're two talented musicians on acoustic guitars that have only gotten better, especially Dave, right? That rock bridge to me, last year, Sound on Sound, Farm Aid twice. I've seen it, some of the 2017 shows. Like, to me, Dave's guitar has only gotten better. Tim, he's got what, Martin's, but like to me, it's truly two guitars, these two guitar talents. So nothing has changed because it's the same thing. And if anything, they've learned how to fine tune the sets and bring out some of these special songs. And a lot of these songs in Mexico, this is the first time they've ever been played Dave and Tim over the years. So that's a great point.
Absolutely.
And that's why I've always said, listen, I love Dave and Tim because they haven't changed and they've only gotten better. And it's just a beautiful thing hearing these two acoustic guitars do what they did. Like you said, someone who went to one of the college shows in the mid 90s, standing out in the cold New England streets to go to these college shows for Dave and Tim or wherever they were, all these tourist stops. It's the same thing. If you get that same joy, that same experience. So thank you so much for being on, Zach, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Absolutely. We'll talk tomorrow, but I will end with my closing note of my dream tour would be to see Dave and Tim go back to small college style amphitheaters. We're talking about 2K to 3K people, but absolutely zero booze allowed. No booze allowed. Everyone is stone cold sober and you are quiet and you just let them play a la Radio City. That is
I,
what I
I'm
want.
I'm 100% for that. I'm 100% for that. very like college lecture style. That's a great idea. And hey, maybe red light management if y'all watch. I was kidding. All right, have a good day, Zach. Or good night, Zach.
Have a
Take
good
care.
night, boss. Get some rest.
All right. Yeah. All right. So that's Zach, who came on. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, again, I've never been to Mexico, but the biggest thing I've heard talking to people off the record, on the record, is over the years is that this night one is taxing. Some people have been here since Wednesday. Some people came Thursday, and that Cancun sun is even different than the Florida sun. Shout out to Trish DMB last year. She's like, listen, she lives in Florida, so she gets those warm winters, and it's a different thing. Which is also why you have to be careful when you leave when you leave the country or in the country, and you have all inclusive type stuff. You gotta be careful because you can be in very compromising positions as far as be a target, um, to be taken advantage, attacked or I'm talking about robbed, things like that. But I don't risk that on anyone. But you just gotta be careful when you're not in your prime environment of where you are and where you live too. You gotta be careful. One of the talks, someone I can't remember who it was. Shout out to, let me look it. I'm gonna look it up. But someone wanted me to mention the Onsale. What was that? But I have a couple of things here. Let me just look on. I'm looking on Twitter. Oh, Garrett Parker. Shout out to Garrett Parker. I don't know if you're on now, but thank you for bringing this up. About the DMB. Let's see, what is it? All right, so we're going to talk about the tour. I don't know how. Let me know, you guys in the chat, how you guys did with the public on sale. A lot of people are frustrated with Ticketmaster, with the ticket buying process. What I'll say, and this is just specifically for Dave Matthews Band. All right, you have one venue that's extremely hard to get tickets to. That's SPAC. But I mean, look at Goose just had their first SPAC show, and it's hard. That's a unique unicorn. Outside of that, any other venue, you can get a seat. Now, where that seat is it the pit? Those things can vary. But you can get a physical seat in the pavilion if you wait it out. I can confirm that after going to Deer Creek and Alpine last year. Those were the two I was like, okay, maybe these are. Now listen, those sell very well, especially Deer Creek. It sells very well. But there were tickets in the mid pavilion and upper pavilion all throughout that weekend, the weeks before. Was the pit hard to get into? Absolutely. But this is what I think of it like this. All right, so again, we're take out the gorge, right? I mean, not the gorge, take out the SPAC, right? And even so, I know people are finding ways to get tickets to SPAC, right? So let's here, let me get my glasses straight. But you can find ways to get tickets, right? A lot of the tickets you see that are marked up closer to the event, they end up being face value. A lot of people, the ticket brokers selling tickets, they have to get rid of those tickets. If you wait it out, it will always literally pay off. And you can still score tickets. I got ticket to Mansfield today through the on sale in a parking pass, right? What I think of it like this, though. I sign up for the warehouse, I put in for pit, right? And if I put in for pit, sometimes I put in for lowers or uppers, things like that. Like for SPAC night 1 this year, I got confirmed, and I put in for one ticket in the upper level, right? One of the balcony price point, and I got it. Got denied for night 2, but I used the warehouse, and it took time, right? I've gotten Pitt 3 times. I got Pitt for Hartford 2015 night, the single night, uh, Mohegan night 2 in 2021, and then Hartford in 2022. Right. So I got those many times. I've been denied for a lot of venues. Right. I've got Deer Creek night 1 last year, Alpine, I think it was night 1 last year as well. And I found tickets for night 2. But it all comes together. But I'm saying wait it out. The warehouse is a lottery. Yeah, a lot of times you get denied, but many times you can get a nice seat. I know some people who have never gotten Pitt from the where, and I understand that. I get that frustration. But all I would say is wait it out. Just wait it out. It like there's a lot more artists. Like if you're trying to go to Beyonce, if you're trying to go to Taylor Swift, there's a lot of artists it's much worse. At least the warehouse gives you a shot. Yeah, many times you get shafted. And the best thing you can do is request in one selections of 1 or 2. Sometimes you win some, you lose some, right? But then after that, just wait out. And at the worst case, just get a lawn ticket. There's no lawn that really. Oh no, the Wilmington lawn I believe sold out today, but that's a small lawn. Outside of the small lawns, you can like here's what I'll say too. The Gorge is the biggest and the best like experience you can have with this band. I would say like take out Dave and Tim X or something like special like that, like Caravan. Take that out. It's just the most consistent, great thing you can do. You can go up to that weekend and not have any tickets. I the only time I paid face value for a Gorge ticket is when I bought the physical warehouse. I got the warehouse request. Other times I literally got tickets well below face value or 10, 15 bucks below, no, actually that's like halfway. But I've most of the shows I've been to at the Gorge, I've been to 6 shows. I would say about 4 or 5 of those I paid below face value. Right. I think it was 4. One time I paid for seats at face value. One time I got a seat below face value. Right. So I would just say wait it out. I understand the frustrations with SPAC. Outside of that, it's not hard to get. Like you just have to be patient. And at the worst case, yeah, maybe you're not next to Dave in the lowers, and you're in the uppers or mid pavilion, but you can still get in. And a lot of band like I got this Blink 182 shirt. A lot of bands like Blink 182, they come back after years, and it's hard to get a ticket because of that demand. DMB tours so much that and there's so many different shows they do. They do 30, 35, 40 dates guaranteed, so you have more of an option. What else are we talking about? Are we talking? Oh, let's get to this. So this is gonna be one. I'm just trying to make sure. I'm trying to do these timestamps better. All right, so let's talk about this Dave and Tim, the rarities galore, right? So what are you guys talking about? So, I mean, this is where I'm conflicted because the more I look at this, the more I understand why they don't play certain songs. They don't hit right, as we were just talking about. But to me, I want I would love Trouble to come through. I'd love Boa and the Stone like back to back, 3, 4. Like that should be more of a frequent thing. Uh, Busted stuff should be around more. It really should. And that's Zach said he thinks this is gonna be the year, and it's a great comparison. Dreaming Tree last year was played at Dave and Tim and made it through to get some performances. I got it at Alpine, I believe. Yeah. Right. It I really would love some of this stuff that you see at a Dave and Tim show to all come together in a full band show. But I also understand why some of the stuff isn't. But again, I'm pushing for free dodo, right? Free trouble, free up and away. Um, Shoe York. No, I didn't go. I didn't do Queen. I didn't. I didn't even put in for it. I didn't even on the on sale today do it. That to me, that's a trap show because it's a one night stand in New York's in Queens, right? It's a one night stand in Queens. Anthony says this. Actually, let's get to this. And this isn't true. And this is what I used to think. It's the same 70 people at the shows. This isn't true. And if you go to shows, you'll actually know. Yes, there's a lot of familiar faces you'll see if you go on the tour circuit. But like, if you really go around the venue in the pit, yeah, there's like the same. You see like some of the same people there because people find ways to get. They trade pit tickets. Especially shout out to the warehouse, but that's what's great about the warehouse membership is through the boards you can you can trade tickets, find out ways to get them, but it's not the same 70 people at the shows. It's really like what we think is the 70% is really like the like 5%, if that, right? It's not the same 70%. Now, when you go to the gorge, obviously you're gonna have there's a lot of locals that just go to the gorge, but a lot of people travel there. When you go to SPAC, there's a lot of people who travel there. But most people, even shout out to what is it, DMB News. They just did this is just Twitter alone. This isn't even like a lot of people aren't on Twitter. Like even look at this. This was a poll done, and the only people who are going to take this poll are Dave Matthews Band fans, right? How many DMB concerts are you going to this year, right? 15.2% of the fans who responded on social media, meaning they're in tune with DMB Twitter, 15% said zero. 62.5 said 1 to 3 shows. I was in that. I'm doing 4 to 9, 18.4. 3.9% of people are doing 10 plus shows, right? The majority, and this is Twitter. When someone is on Twitter talking about Dave Matt, they're super like they're crazy. And I'm on Twitter, handle at ConcertViz34. Um, this is the diehard of the diehard voting right here. 512 votes. The majority are going to 1 to 3. Let's just say half, like 30. Let's just say half of these of the 1 to 3 are just going to one. That's 30% of this are going to one show. You add on the 15, right? That's 45. 45% of people are going to one or less show. If you just let's say you cut it in half, you're just assuming 30% of the 62% is one show, right? A lot of people are only going to one show, but you see a couple familiar faces and you think that's you're biased towards thinking that's how it is, right? Um, the couch tour has all the same people, but that's 1 or 2 people though, and really that's not true because we've had people like Mike Will, and he goes to like 6-7 shows, but that's it. It's a 40 show tour. So you do see a lot of familiar faces, but they don't go. Most people don't only go to like even of the diehard super travelers, they may only be able to go to 10 shows. Not many people going to, especially in this day and age. Now, maybe back when tickets were cheaper. I have coworkers, former coworkers, I would say, not current, but former coworkers. Some of them did chase DMB around. 2 of them in particular. One of them did it really for like 1 or 2 summers, but when things were cheaper and easier, and they were in college, they went to 20 shows. Yeah, but the couch tour it rotates around like. And again, those are 1 or 2 people that really go to like 15 shows, if that. Right. Um, And this, I mean, this is really, again, this is just, and this is a poll. This is a Twitter poll. Right. So, and listen, the cost of the tickets is also going to cap people off in this economy. That's why I say just wait out. People are going to have to sell these. There's things are going to come up, right? Things are going to come up. So just wait it out. Let's go to the poster. See if we can get this poster up. This was a methane poster. I think the triptych, this, oops, I got, oh, excuse me. Let's see. Let's refresh this as well. Oh, Boa got that extended outro. I'm just looking at the refresh here. Oops. Trying to pull up the poster. Let's see. So this was the poster here for the single night. I think so. This was a methane poster. I thought this was okay. I don't think it's great. I think it's okay, especially for methane, which they make a lot of posters. They're gonna have less ideas to come with. So I thought this was good. Not great, but good. I like the way the skull is set up, like the little crab, and it's got the D and the T. Those are picks. The colors are a little. The colors are a little in the, but I mean, and yes, methane uses a lot of the same stuff. They've used skulls before, right? So, but I thought it was good. Good, not great. There's not much. There's a lot of posters where I just feel strongly turned off. This isn't one of them. I like the eye patch on there. But let's see what else other people are saying. Read back tomorrow. Let's see what else. Poster, new song. I gotta listen to the new song a little more. I really only heard a part of it on the stream. I will say if the new songs are like Ocean and the Butterfly type vibes, where it's like I'm okay with that. Ocean and the Butterfly is simple, but it's not, like, to me, it's not as annoying as some of the Come Tomorrow quickies, like Do You Remember, which actually sound like they have Do You Remember down pat really well. I don't really care for it as much as I used to. I used to love that. But it just depends. Like I just, a lot of that stuff skippable. I think if it has an Ocean and butterfly type simplicity and allows for space to jam, then I'm all for it. If it's more like some of the Come Tomorrow stuff that just gets old really quickly, that's not good. So yeah, that's how I feel. All right. Yeah, guys, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. We'll be back with Shane and with Zach. I would say, well, it is Saturday the 18th on the East Coast. I plan to be on around 11:30 tomorrow night. Plan to be on there. As I said that with Shane, but like I said, I can't afford this trip right now, and there's much more important things to invest in and grow right now in my life right now currently. Perhaps in a couple of years things will change, but that's where I'm at. But I'm okay with people having a ball and doing this, and like I don't have any resentment towards people who can go. I'm happy for everyone who's out there, and it's nice to be able to talk to people who are there. And I think it's nice too that people who are there can share some of their experience, whether it's some people it's with the camera, some people it's just with their voice, right? So I don't ever resent. I know some people are that. I know I joked about on my video. You know, you got to pay 5 racks for Dodo at the end of my last video, but yeah, just joking. But it's more of a, if anything, my only frustration is that Dave and Tim don't do more touring in America, and they don't at least try to bring out stuff, at least test it out. I made the case for Trouble in the E1 spot in my last video. Like that's all I'm asking for. But I also understand. Like, listen, this is a nice. If we're gonna keep it 100. Like I know Dave. You know, you can think Dave is like, yeah, plant the trees. Dave's about his money, right? And this is a work smart, not hard type event. They generate a lot of revenue. They have a great time. They have a crowd that's open to a lot of experimentation, and that's why they do some of this. But I always say, hey Dave, just try Dodo, try Busted stuff, and yeah. What is Heinz? Heinz says Dodo sucks. This is what we think here, right? We don't care, Heinz. All right, so let's close out the show. What we'll do, we'll actually we'll close out with and shout out to Rob. He actually recorded a lot of these things here. Let's see if we can get this for you. We'll close out with one of Rob's things, and like I said, we'll be back. Any topics you want to talk about? Hit up, put them in for next for the Saturday or Sunday shows. Maybe about the shows or about just the DMB in general. Put them in the comments of this video, and I'll look at those. Tag me on Instagram, Twitter. Let's see. What do you guys? All right, we'll close out with this. Hey. Excuse me. We'll close out with hey, my. But again, I think Solis is extremely talented. Oh, was my thing muted? My thing was muted, so you didn't hear this. But we got to play this again. So she said Dodo sucks, right?
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
We don't care. All right, let's close out with this. Hey, shout out to again, we got Busted Stuff Free.
Convict music.
Trouble came back. Trouble was locked up, but it's free.
Convict music.
Good time did a small bed, but it's back.
Convict music.
All right. So shout out to some of these songs coming back. We got the first release of what was it? Monsters.
21. Convict music. 2
All right. All right, guys. That's it for tonight. See you tomorrow. Peace.
Paper lips, but